Hi everyone, this is Abhishek, your host from ShakeTheCosmos.com. Just want to say that Shake the Cosmos is a global community and a platform where you will hear inspirational stories from entrepreneurs and average Joes, people just like yourself who have overcome hardship to achieve their dreams. And these stories are guaranteed to inspire you to take action, to take the next step, to take the leap of faith towards achieving what matters to you and achieving your greater mission in life. So don't miss out on the future episodes. Hit that subscribe or follow button, please. And give this episode a rating. That'll help me out on the organic search results. Thank you so much. Hi there, this is Abhishek from ShakeTheCosmos.com. I'm really excited about today's episode because I'm going to give you some secrets on how to do a mental recharge. And wait till the end of the episode where I will guide you through a quick little meditation which works like charm. And it'll be different and you'll be shaking the cosmos so you have a path that works for you very quickly. So let's get into it. Are you ready for it? So energy. Do you know about energy? Not the battery energy that you put in the batteries in our cells, the energy that we all have. You know, you have time, you have money, and you have love. People say there are some of those resources, and you have people. At the same time, at the end of the day, every single thing that you're doing, I am doing, everybody else is doing, is using energy. When you have a job, you're doing an exchange for your own energy, for money, for time, for resources, to help a company, to help yourself if you're self-employed. So how can you maximize this energy? Well, this episode is going to talk about that. And also, so you can have more energy for your relationships, for yourself, eventually, just for yourself. So what is it that we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about a mental recharge. So what is a mental recharge? A mental recharge is essentially a way for you to recharge your batteries. So, you know when your car in the wintertime stops working or starts on the side of the road, just goes, dead? Well, what if, imagine your body, mind, and soul like that, where it's wintertime, or if it's just any time and you start to feel down. And that's the key. So when do you need a mental recharge? That's a really good point. So when do you need it? Number one, well, first thing is self. So for example, in my relationship with my partner, I noticed that I was getting just a little bit more cranky. That means I'm cranky in general. But what I mean is I was getting a little bit of a cranky person. And I felt like I was sharing those feelings with my partner. At the same time, there wasn't really any valid reason for them. So for example, I'd like to do these heart check-ins where I would ask my partner, hey, how are we doing on a scale 0 to 5? And she said, we're doing fine. And I'm she was like, we're at 4 or 5. And I was like, oh, we're at like a -2. So there are these disconnects that can happen. And again, it's all in the mind sometimes. So that could be like a takeaway. So think about that. What are you doing? How are you feeling? And really notice those feelings, because remember, you have control of those feelings. The second thing you can do is your friends. Listen to your friends. So if a friend tells you something and they have been seeing you constantly struggle through something and they're looking after you. So in my example, like I have a friend, Pilar, she lives in the same house. She's like my neighbor. So she checks in with me and she's like, hey, Abhishek, you might need a retreat or something. It seems like you've been doing a lot lately. So notice that. So when do you need it? Number one, just in your partnerships and your relationships, notice your feelings. Second, notice if your other external, somebody else from outside, your friend or someone is telling you what you might need. And then finally, the third one, and it's an easy one, your physical body. Look at it and see how you're doing. Maybe you've lost some weight. Maybe there's some changes going on. Maybe some hair is growing. Maybe nails are growing. Just notice those changes, and maybe there's some neglecting going on of your own body. Well, remember, in the yoga, for example, the yoga meaning of yoga is union of body and mind. So what happens, you think if you're body goes down and the mind is trying to stay up, keep up. Well, eventually it creates imbalance. And that's why we're chatting today. So, this is how you start to feel when you need a mental recharge. When you feel this imbalance and your relationships are suffering, your friends are telling you, hey, this is something you might need, and you're also noticing physical changes happening in your body. So what are 3 ways that you can just fight this mental recharge or mental need for a recharge and get into it? So number one is recognize it. So recognize it that you need a mental recharge. And that is so important. For example, you're trying to solve a problem and you don't know what the problem is. What are you going to solve for then? So in my case, for example, I usually teach a yoga class once a week. And all of a sudden, I became popular. So there was a week where I taught 3 yoga classes, 1 open house, and a workshop on top of it all. And guess what? I had to look at my calendar like, hey, before I was teaching 1 class, now all of a sudden there's 3 or 5 commitments happening. So if you have a Google Calendar or any type of tracking mechanism, notice these visual changes. Notice how your calendar all of a sudden is starting to grow. And it might be okay, you have infinite capacity. I believe that. I believe that we all have infinite capacity. At the same time, we have to give ourselves a little bit of a time to adjust, right? The car doesn't just go from like 0 to 60 like instantly. Well, I guess there are Teslas that go really fast, but you see, it takes a few seconds. So give yourself that few seconds where you're just thinking and relaxing. And I'll talk about what are like ways you can actually start to practice mental recharge. And the number 1 is just to first recognize that you need it. And again, it is so important, that first step, recognition. So number 2, your friends and support system. Reach out to them. So when you feel that imbalance of mind and body, reach out to your friends and support systems. And that is so important. So in my case, for example, I reached out to my friend Ahmed, I reached out to my friend Maria, I reached out to my friend Pilar. And all it took was really just one-on-one meetings. And for example, my friend Maria couldn't get on to meet in person, but we talked on Zoom. So you might have friends, they're far away, have a Zoom call with them. And that might be important because sometimes you just talk to someone that is just a good listener, they know how you feel, and they'll be there for you. For me, for example, it's just helpful to talk out loud. So if you might be that kind of person, so who is someone in your life that can nurture you when you need a mental recharge? Do you have that person? And of course, there's professional resources as well. So if you have access to social support services or social services like therapy and things like that, that is also a good idea. But you might, just reach out to friends and see how you feel. And then finally, just have a conversation with yourself. Really check in with yourself. And I'll talk to you about that. Just for one trick I use, really, it's a very simple trick. And don't call me crazy, but go in the bathroom, look at the mirror, and just, be naked, first of all, and look at the mirror and look at yourself. Start looking at yourself from like head to toe. Notice all the changes. Really, this is called a mirror meditation. So this mirror meditation is essentially you're doing a check-in with yourself. And as you look at your physical body, you'll start to notice what are the changes. So for example, when I looked at myself, I noticed, oh wow, my hair is really grown out. What do you guys think? You should tell me, by the way. Send me a message on DM on Shake the Cosmos. What do you think of my hair? Oh, so then you're looking at your face and you're like, oh, maybe there are some changes happening. Okay, and then maybe you're looking at your neck, and then you're looking at your rest of your body, and maybe you notice some imperfections and maybe some perfections, and then you eventually realize this is you. This is your whole body. This is who you love, And this is a beautiful, amazing meditation. Usually we look at the mirror and we're like trying to beautify ourselves and just moving on or just making sure we look perfect. Well, this is an opportunity to look at the imperfections, look at the perfections, and then realize that it's just perfect as it is. And this is, in a way, a third beautiful way to recharge, to do a mental recharge. So these are some of the ways, number one, recognize it. And number two, reach out to friends and do this mirror meditation. And I'll throw in a bonus one. Here's a bonus one. And again, it might not be available to everybody, but if you have access to a different environment. So number 4 is really change the environment you're in. So my partner and I, we live together in a city lifestyle, and everything's accessible. We go out to restaurants, eateries, and everything's really close to us. At the same time, when I needed a mental recharge, I went outside the city. So I reached out to a friend. I was like, hey, can I crash at your place that you have in the desert? And it's in nature and it's beautiful, and he let me crash there. So these are types of things where when you do a change of an environment, it does wonders. And let me tell you, what is happening inside is really you start to just collect yourself. So instead of thinking about what's going around you, there's this energy that shifts. All of a sudden, you have some empty space to start to think about who you care about, what you think about, what are your problems, and these types of things. And eventually, you'll notice that you become more full of energy. So now, how do you know what do you feel after a mental recharge? So let's say you've changed the environment, you've talked to your friends, you're recognizing it, you've done these bonus mirror naked meditations, and you're like, am I done recharging? Am I at the full level? Well, the key to a mental recharge is you'll start to feel different. So, and the trick is you'll start to notice just things about yourself. And you'll start to do things that you enjoy yourself. So for example, I'm recording this podcast, and that is something creative. You have an outlet. So you might notice, oh, you're really paying attention to what matters to you. And that, again, is beautiful because it is not selfish, because people who love you will see that, and they'll actually appreciate that you're spending time on things that you love and create. So remember these tricks, because this is something that will help you gain more energy in your relationships, in your career, in your work, and just eventually the most important relationship is yourself. So it'll get you more energy there. So thank you for listening. And if you want a copy of some meditations that I've been doing to do mental recharges myself, they're Kundalini Yoga meditations, send me a message on Instagram on Shake the Cosmos. That's ShakeTheCosmos. Again, what are you doing? Go ahead and do a mental recharge. First, check in with yourself and change the environment. Go to friends and support system and do the bonus mirror meditation if you're really up for it. Let me know what you think of this episode. If you really enjoyed it, send me a message, DM, Shake the Cosmos, or give this episode a rating. Thank you again for listening. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful time wherever you are in the world.
As many of you know, I've been doing a lot more traveling lately. And while I've loved meeting new people, sharing experiences, and sharing stories, one thing I definitely don't like sharing is germs. That's why I always bring my Wind Plus with me wherever I go. It's a portable air purifier that can filter out airborne respiratory droplets, helping me feel safe while on the go, on the plane, to the office, or in the car. In addition to viral respiratory droplets, it can also remove smoke, smog, pollen, dust, and other particles, making it perfect for anyone who cares about their air quality. And honestly, that's pretty much all of us nowadays, right? If you're interested, Ray, the CEO of Wind, and a recent guest on the show, was kind enough to provide us an exclusive deal. Simply use code COSMOS on their website to get $30 off any Wind device. That includes not only their portable air purifiers, but also their new Wind Max air purifier for the home and Wind Halo air quality sensor. So go to www.hellowind.com, that is HELLOWYND.com, wind.com. That's wind with a Y. Pick up a new air purifier and use code COSMOS to get $30 off.